Hello students, we are continuing with Job chapter 3. We're continuing now with the verse, I believe this is verse 5, yes. So we're moving to verse 5 and we're looking at verse 5. So notice that I have it here. So I'm just going to read it for you first. Igaluhu choshech v'tzal mavet tishkon alav anana yevatuhu kimrirei yom. So again, of course, the first observation is that notice we're still in adjussive mode, volitive mode, because we have this imperfect here without a vav at the very beginning of the word. So probably it's going to be translated something like this: let it be. And here we notice the verb ga'al. Ga'al, it reminds you probably of the word go'el, redeemer. So literally this says, let it redeem, let them redeem it, darkness. So the idea, let basically, and the reason it's a plural seems to be because it's referring to both, the subject is made of both of these nouns, choshech v'tzal mavet. Choshech v'tzal mavet. Choshech is a well-known noun. It means darkness, the darkness of the night, but tzal mavet is more rare. Again, if some of you were with me in a psalm, in the book of Psalms, you might remember tzal mavet appears in Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, this is usually translated the valley of shadow of death because of tzal and mavet. Mavet is death. But some people think now that it's better vocalized as tzalmut, which means deep darkness. In any case, I think it's basically the same image. We have the same image of what is happening here. It's like deep darkness. So let deep darkness basically claim it, redeem it. So this is the idea of claim it, that day in which I was born. In other words, may it be buried in deep darkness. And here, tishkon alav, again, the adjussive tone continues. So you can look at here as a break. And let dwell upon it anana. Anana is usually translated as clouds. Clouds, and again, in this particular form is really unique to the book of Job. So you will notice that in the book of Job we have many hapax legomena. In other words, very rare words, because most likely because this is poetry, and it's the poetry of very educated people who have a very select and elevated language, which a lot of people don't know. And then it continues with another adjussive. So we notice we have one adjussive, a second adjussive, and a third adjussive. Yevatuhu kimrirei yom. And again, we have a plural here. Notice the plural here is shown by the u. We expect a u, a long u like this. But sometimes notice we have the defective writing. The verb is ba'at. It's usually to terrify. Let them terrify it. Who? Kimrirei yom. So who's this kimrirei? This is a really difficult word, and again, if we just go back, anana, we saw the word anana. Notice again a rain cloud from anan. So anan we do have in Hebrew, but anana is unique. Rain cloud, again, notice it's a hapax legomenon. And here kamrir. Again, it's another hapax, and it's very, very disputed. In fact, people will not agree on what exactly this means. If you look at the commentators, and it's not clear. Again, it's a very rare word, but usually it's translated the blacknesses of the day. Again, notice it's actually plural, and that's why we have plural here. So let the blacknesses of the day. So notice how many words we have about darkness. Darkness, let's say the shadow of death or deep darkness, and again the darkness, the blackness of the day. So it's a very, very dark lament. So he wants the day in which was born basically to be encompassed by darkness. everything to be dark about it. In fact, probably in this verse we have all the Hebrew words, many of them very rare, many of them appearing only once, like kimrere or kamrer. Don't feel bad if you don't know this particular word, because it's rare. This is the only place it appears. So, but so many words about darkness. It's a hymn. It's a poem. It's a lament full of darkness. Let's see. It continues. Halayla hahu. Again, notice the same like that. Hayom hahu, and now halayla hahu. That day, and then ikachechu. So it continues this Joseph, this volative mood. So here, the Job in his deep darkness and his deep sorrow has these wishes that he expresses with this Joseph verbs. Ikachechu, literally. So notice here, of course, is the verb lakach. Just notice the verb lakach behaves like a first noun verb. The lamed is assimilated. The kof has a dagesh. The dagesh in the kof tells us that something was assimilated, but in this case, instead of being the noun, it's the lamed. So lakach behaves like a first noun verb. So and it does look like it's a nifal. If you really look at it, it looks like it's a nifal, and but it's actually a kal. The reason it looks like a nifal is because, again, the assimilation of the nun. But you can be excused if you think it's a nifal. It doesn't make sense though. Let it take it, ofel, and again we have another word for darkness. Yet another word. We have night, ofel. And just to show you, ofel, darkness, it does appear in Isaiah and in this case, actually, because the word doesn't appear that many times, this is very useful for you if you preach and you teach. If you look at all the occurrences, maybe you can give one of these as an example. Let's look, for example, at Psalm 91:6. So if you look at Psalm 91, just again to see in what context it's used, Psalm 91:6. Again, it talks there, and Psalm 91, it says this in verse 5: "You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness." So here it's used Ophel. So here, of course, in Psalm 91, it's in a psalm of trust, in which you tell which the psalmist says, because God is with you, because God is your refuge, you will not fear what is happening in the darkness, even the pestilence that stalks in the darkness. So again, we have an idea now in which context this particular darkness is used, in the darkness of a pestilence. It's a darkness of destruction. So again, and here, because it's not, but notice most of the usages, if we look carefully here, you'll notice that most of the usages are actually in the book of Job. So of course we have this text that we're looking at, but notice all the other occurrences are actually in the book of Job, and perhaps also here in Psalm. But it appears basically in Psalms. It appears basically only in poetry in the Bible, and in Isaiah, which probably it's also a poetic text, as many texts in. It appears there again in parallel with Choshech, and so it's again a rare word. So let darkness basically take it, and let it not something. We have to come back to this in the days of the year. We have here yemei bimei shana year, in the days of the year. B'mispar yerachim al yavo, in the number of the months. Yerach is months, just like this is year. Let it not come. Again, let it. It's implied by the al. If it was lo, it will not come. But because it's al, it implies a Joseph. Let it not come in the months of the year. So basically, he wants this day to be blotted even from the calendar, never to have existed. This is what Job wants at this point. But here I wanted to come back to this. So basically that day, let it, let it be lakach, let it be taken, or let that day basically be taken, right, by the darkness. And then al-ichad, this is very unusual because it's just difficult to figure out what the verb root is, though a very good guess, of course, would be chada with a hey at the end. And indeed, if we look at this, it's a verb, it means to rejoice. Let it not rejoice. So let not be rejoicing. And I'm looking here at chada. And again, we notice the verb to rejoice and appears a few times. Again, when it's a case like this, ideally you should look at all the occurrences, even though this one is disputed, if you look at here. So it says for yachdav, read, ichdu. This is one case here, but Job 3:6. Now, again, the usage of Job's 3:6 seems to be very, very unique. But notice, kal imperfect vayichad, mixed form of yichad and yicht. But the meaning is actually probably most translators will go to rejoice. Let it not rejoice in the days of the year, and let it not come, basically, let it not be counted in the number of the months. So again, continues this volitive and volitive and volitional mood. Let it not happen. Let this not happen. And again, the volitional is enforced and supported by these negatives, which is al instead of lo. So if the word will continue, so the translation of USV, that night, and again, let thick darkness seize it, let it not rejoice among the days of the year, let it not come into the number of the months. So again, basically, he wants the day to be blotted out. Then it continues in verse 7. Hine halayla hahu yehi galmud. So hine halayla hahu. This is almost like a parenthesis. Behold, halayla hahu, again, that night, going back, that night. And again, we've seen this volitional yehi, I'm not repeating, let it be galmud. Galmud, I put it here in red because, again, it is an unusual word. And let me delete this because it's irrelevant here. But galmud, again, your dictionary will look at Arabic cognates, jamada. The Arabic, usually the gimel sounds like a J, jalmada, to be turned to stone and so on. But for us, we do have a few occurrences in the Bible, and the most useful is probably the one in Isaiah 49:21, which refers to a barren woman. And then we have it again in Job 15:34, and especially our text is here, referring to the night to be barren. So behold, let the night be barren. Again, a very, very rare word. We find many rare words in the book of Job. So let it be barren, and again, let it not come. We saw this in the previous verse. Let not come, and here, renana, renana. This is a shout of joy in it. So again, we saw it, let it not rejoice. So it's kind of like a parallel. Let it not rejoice in the days of the year. No rejoicing. It was no rejoicing. It was just darkness. No rejoicing is allowed here because, that was the day in which I was born. So let that day be barren, because of course if he would have been barren, again, wishful thinking in the past, he would not have been born. And again, let it not come, let not actually here the subject is renana. So this shout, this joyful cry, let not go in it, let not enter in it, that joyful cry. So this is something again that I would look, if I was preaching or teaching, I would look at all the occurrences of Galmud. That way it makes it easier to explain it to the congregation. It's a day that to be barren again, and here will be a key text that will help you to explain it, Isaiah 49:21. But also you might want to look at Job. It looks like it appears 3 times in Job, though probably in some of them it's probably difficult to understand the meaning. Here, moving on to the verse 8, because we're moving closer to the ending of this section. Notice again, we are continuing with this volitive mood. You know, let it be, let it be. And again, we have an imperfect without a vav. Again, imperfect is shown by the yod. We have again the familiar, hopefully you are familiarizing yourself right now with the third masculine singular suffix. And then we have a verb here, kav. And I put it here for you exactly what it is, because it's a geminate verb. Just I guess to refresh your memory, because most of you in Hebrew, we didn't have time to get to the geminate verbs. Geminate verbs are verbs that have the last 2 consonants the same. These are probably the most difficult verbs to recognize in the Hebrew, because they have a very, very unusual form. So notice it would be easy to confuse this with the nakav. For example, you might think that this is the dagesh of nun, and you're going to think from nakav, but actually this is actually again, as we see, a geminate verb from kavav, and it simply means to curse. Let them curse it. Let them curse it. Again, it's a kal. Let them curse it. And here you might want to look at kal. It means to curse, to enchant. And here, for a good illustration of cursing, we have at least you can go at least in 2 directions. This is the verb that is used. It's just useful again, even for you to understand it better, but also for the congregation. It's the verb that is used, as you notice here, even if you don't need to look at the whole all the occurrences. But notice here, Numbers 21, 11, 17, 23, 8, 11. And those of you who know the Bible immediately are thinking about Balaam. So basically, when Balak called Balaam to curse Israel, it's using the word kavav. This is the verb that is using. Come and curse Israel. And another form that you might want to look at, just to see it's used in parallel. It's used in parallel with to bless. Notice here in Proverbs 11:26, in parallel with barakah. So it's basically the opposite of barak. And I put here for you Proverbs 11:26. The people curse him, kavav, who holds grain, but the blessing is on the head of him who sells it. So it's a clear opposite of barak. So instead of, let them curse it, who are they? Again, orerei om. And here I didn't put it for you. I hope that you recognize this verb, arar. Arar is the verb that is found in Genesis 12, where God makes a promise to Abraham and it says, I will bless those who bless you, and those who curse you, I will curse. It uses the word arar. So here is referring to orerei. Please notice when you see a o at the beginning of a word that appears to be a verbal form, think about participle, and in this case it's a cal active participle, masculine plural in construct. Orerei, should have put this also in red maybe, or just to have the root arar is better like this maybe. But a is of course the masculine plural in construct. So those who are cursing the day, who are those? This is something that remains to be discussed afterwards. I'm just looking now at the Hebrew. But those who are cursing the day, may they curse that day, basically. May they curse it. And then, ha'atidim orerei lidyatan. So I didn't read this for you, but let me read it. Ikavuhu orerei yom ha'atidim oreir lidyatan. So notice, of course, again, the similarity between orerei and oreir. Here with aleph, here with ayin. Of course, for the ancient Hebrews, it would have been pronounced slightly different, the pronunciation between an aleph and an ayin. But here we cannot tell the difference. It sounds almost the same. But arar refers, of course, to the verb which means to arouse, to wake up. So those And here again, we're dealing with a very difficult word. This is what you're going to notice in the book of Job, and it's a little bit discouraging for you, but it's okay. We're not going to go that fast. Again, a very rare word, atid, atid. So again, I put it for you here just to have an idea. Atid, it's difficult to realize what it means. It usually means somebody who's ready. Notice here, atid, the ready or future. And here in this particular place refers to Job 3, those who are skilled. And notice some people translate those who are skilled, but many translate those who are ready. As far as I can tell, I would lean toward the ready, but there is some evidence that it can mean those who are skilled. Again, who are these people? You know, who are these people who are cursing the day? Who are these people who are ready to rouse Leviathan? Leviathan. And of course, here we have the appearance of what seems to be a monster. And it brings another question: who is Leviathan? And this is a discussion that is worth having later when we meet in class. So this is something that you want to answer for yourself. Who are these people who are cursing the day? Who are these people who are rousing Leviathan, and why are they rousing Leviathan? Again, these are some questions that you want to answer yourself and put in your journal. Who is Leviathan? And of course, you probably, some of you already recognize, so maybe I should put this in a different color, but this is something that you want to look at. I don't know what color, let's put it dark green. But Leviathan, of course, some of you already remember that it appears at the end of the book, so you might want to take a look at it and notice that when God speaks, he's going to speak about Leviathan. Is there a connection? Probably. But in this particular lament, which is a curse, notice again what bombards you here in this particular section. You are bombarded by words of darkness, and you are bombarded by words of cursing. But again, even though Job is in the mood of cursing, he wants that day to be cursed. There's no cursing of God, but it seems to be a cursing of his fate. Now, this is the Job that we saw in chapter 2, the Job that sat in the ashes and was scraping himself. This is the Job. It's not the Job that tells his wife, right? Seems to be a different Job. Seems to be two kinds of Jobs there. So again, this is let those who curse the day who are ready to rouse up Leviathan. Again, a good question. Who is this Leviathan? Who is this Leviathan, and why should he be raised up? It seems to be some monsters who are threatening order. And then these are the last two verses that we want to look at in this section, and perhaps you should stop with these last two verses, and we will discuss some of the theological and just exegetical points maybe that are relevant when we meet in class. But now let's just again continue with this poem, with this lament. So again, Yechshahu, I'm just going to read it for you. Yechshahu kochavei nishpo yekav leor va'ayin va'al yireh ba'afapei shachar. So ishkahu. Again, I'm just pointing for you the verbal root chashach. We already, some of you hopefully recognize choshech. Again, is darkness. Please add it to your vocabulary. And of course, yechshahu is to be dark, to become dark, So here we're in verse. We're of course in verse. I'm trying to think of verse 9, right? So we're in verse 9, and we're looking at this particular verse. So basically, let the stars, Kochav, perhaps if you remember Bar Kokhva is one of the leaders of basically a revolt against the Roman. Bar Kokhva basically is called the son of the star. Maybe it helps you to remember Kochav, it's star. So here is in plural again, the stars of, and here is a word that is not nefesh. It's not nefesh. Notice it's neshef. It's the other way around. And usually this is translated as is usually translated the dawn, the twilight. So basically the stars of the twilight, let them let the stars of its dawn be dark. Let be dark. Let be dark the stars of its dawn. Again, O. Please don't miss O. Maybe I should have put it for you in red here. Again, the third masculine singular. But again, it's a rare word. Notice here, neshef, not nefesh. We are familiar with nefesh, and it's confusing, but it's neshef. Usually it's translated twilight, or even darkness in some cases. Darkness. And if you were to look at Job, it does appear in Job 24. And I'm sure we also have the passage in here, Job 3:9, which appears in parallel with shachar. Again, a rare word, shachar, probably again meaning dawn, twilight. So very similar, they're probably synonyms. So let the stars basically of the dawn be dark. And again, yakav, this is again a very clear example where the imperfect is actually the short form. The verb here is kava, to wait or to hope. Let it hope for, or here, of course, hopefully you know this word, or means light. So let it hope for light. V'ayin, ayin, this is the non-existential particle, you know, ein, there is, I mean, yesh, there is, and ein, there isn't, but also can appear as ayin, and literally, so let it wait for light and let it not be, basically, and not be, and there's not. But of course, most people translate it basically, let the stars of this dawn be dark, let it hope for light, but have none, and let it not see. Here actually it's a little bit surprising because I expected the short form yar instead of yireh. It's not clear why exactly is the long form. To be honest, I don't know why. But let it not see afafei shachar. Afafei is the eyelids, basically the eyelids of the dawn, of the dusk, the eyelids of the morning, maybe you can say. So in other words, you know, let this day continue forever. We don't want it we don't want the twilight to come. We do not want the dawn to come. We want this day to be darkness forever, kind of. Let it stay dark forever. Again, it's a very, very dark. It's a very depressing, and it's a very, it's filled with curses. This whole wish of Job. Again, you can see the pain, and which continues in verse 10, which says, Ki lo sagar daltei bitni, because he did not close. This is a very simple perfect. He did not close daltei bitni, literally the doors of my womb. The doors of my womb. Most people translate the doors of my mother's womb, but we can understand here the doors of my womb, but the womb from which I came. So at the doors of my womb. In fact, one translation puts it like this. It says, it did not shut the doors of the womb on me. The doors of the womb on me. So maybe it refers to the doors of my womb, the doors of the womb on me. I guess it's understood like that, but it's probably referring to the doors of my womb from which I was born. So that's why I must supply the doors of the womb of my mother. Va yaster amal meinai, and did not. Now notice here va consecutive. Now it switches. Now it refers why. Because the reason I'm cursing, the reason I'm lamenting, and I want this day to disappear and to become darkness and never to make it to the morning, is because did not shut, basically did not close the womb of my mother, and did not hide. Amal, satar means to hide. It did not hide amal, trouble. toil. This is a keyword in the book of Ecclesiastes, Amal. Ecclesiastes is very much vexed about Amal, about toil. And also notice even Job here in this, because in the situation in which he is, he didn't hide toil or trouble from me. And of course, here we have the word from ayin, I, from my eyes, did not hide trouble from my eyes. So this is Job's lament, the beginning of Job's lament, because it's going to continue. But this first part is a curse on the day of his birth. So make sure you understand it and write down your keywords. And then when we meet together, we will try to think about the theology and to understand a little bit this lament, which is clearly the lament of a person who is in deep pain and in deep darkness himself. All right, so I'll see you in class. I will see you in class at 5 p.m. and we will try to wrap up the theological issue. Okay, see you later. Thank you. Bye.